Hey, good morning, everyone. How are you guys doing today? Hey, this is Gregory Wiles coming live to you from Houston, Texas with this inspirational morning talk. Hey, for first-time listeners, I'm on at 8:45 a.m. on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The goal is just to give you something inspirational to get you through that day, man. But as I said on Wednesday, on from June, the new month of June, I'll be on 1 day a week. I'll be committed to 1 day a week. Most likely might be Mondays. And good morning, Jillian. Good morning. Yes, I'll be committed to 1 day a week, and I think it is Mondays. I'm gonna set up which day is best, but I think it might be Mondays. And then if God leads me to do something, I'll come on during the week and do it. But I'll be committed to the 1 day. Tessa Hunt, good morning. Good morning. How are you doing, Tessa? Yes. So I'll be committed to only 1 day beginning in June. I'm a part of a Bible studies on Tuesday, as I mentioned, on Friday too. So we got to prepare a lot of stuff for that. So whoever wants more can always send me a message and be part of the Bible studies. It's Tuesday nights at 7 p.m. That's Central Time, my time. That's 8 Eastern Time. And I can get you there. Where I can get to, usually in the Bible study, I get to go more in details. We go for an hour, 1 hour. I get to go more in details in these scriptures, because some of these teachings here, it require more explanation and go a lot more in depth. But in the mornings, it's just I just try to keep it short, just try to condense some time, a 45-hour teaching, and just make it into 10-15 minutes. So I am not the host of the Bible study. I was just invited by my good sister to join, and now I am one of the main teachers of the Bible studies. That's how God works, right? So, so I can be committed to 1 day a week starting in June. Like I said, whoever needs more, I know some people may need more. You could send me a message and I can get them linked up to the Bible study. I'm really enjoying it because I could get deeper and really do what I love and really teach. And it's making a lot of difference. People are really getting excited because I can take my time, and then they can ask questions, and people, and the interaction, and I can clear things up more based on the knowledge that I have. I can share that better because people is in a closer setting and they can ask questions and we can interact, right? So that's where I'm heading from June. All right. So guys, what I want to talk about today is give some courage to some people who going through who may be going through some tough times right now. And I name this it's your time. It's your time. And it's your time because how God works, when God ready to promote someone, when God ready to promote you, he want to make sure when the going get tough, you keep things spiritual as how this world is, right? He want to make sure you're going to stay spiritual and you're not going to go secular on him. You're not going to go secular. So you got to go through the test, as people say, before you get to the testimony. He want to make sure when the going get tough, I want to make sure you're going to keep it on a spiritual level, no matter how it get, keep it spiritual and not go secular on him and look for the easy way out and look that, okay, this, so I just want to encourage people. So you might be going through some battles right now, and maybe they are tests that you're going through, because if you look at the Bible, I'm not going to read most of these scriptures, I can just refer to them. If you look at David and Goliath situation, before David go king, his test was Goliath. But what I like with David and Goliath, David keep referring to Goliath as an uncircumcised dude, because he keep it spiritual. He said he's not under the covenant that we're under. I don't care how big. See, David didn't look at his physical structure, this big giant. David keep it spiritual and say, hey, this dude is uncircumcised. He's not covered under the same covenant that we're covered under. So if he's not under this Abrahamic covenant, I can take him down. He's no match for me. He's like a dead man walking, because he got no spiritual backup. Right? So I'm not looking at him as this big giant. I'm looking at the spiritual situation. And I know I got this dude covered because he's not under the covenant that I'm under, right? So that's what God want to make sure. When the going get tough, we keep stuff spiritual and not go secular on him. And not just look at the problem, oh God, this problem is so big, I don't think God know he was doing here. I seen a big giant, I know what God's saying, but spiritual stuff and covenants and all of that. But I'm seeing a big giant in front of me with a big sword and all of that. I don't think I'm no match for him. And you get scared. And then you're looking at the problem. When Daniel was in the lion's den, guys, you Google any photo about Daniel in the lion's den. Daniel never focused on the problem. Daniel's eyes was looking up to God all the time. Daniel never kept his eyes on his problem. He kept his eyes on God. And he tell the king, I don't care if you throw me in the lion's den, I holding on. Anrak, Shadrach, and Abednego too, the same thing. Them guys said, we ain't giving up. We understand what's going on. And no matter how big the problem, how much you threaten us, I keeping this spiritual, bro. I keeping this spiritual. I know where my power come from. I know where my source come from. And I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. And look the results of that, right? Joseph. When Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, he went in Potiphar's house, started settling nice, doing good there. His wife accused him of rape, and then he got into prison and all of that. But all the time he kept it on the spiritual level. He understand that God ain't gonna let me down. When Potiphar's wife approached him to sleep with him, what's the first thing he said? How could I sin against God? That's what he said. He didn't look at it as sinning against his master. He bypassed the master part of it. He know if he do this, it's gonna hurt the master and it's gonna get some repercussions. But his biggest thing, how could I sin against God? That's what he was worried about. That's where his focus is. His focus, no, this is God laws, right? David Paris, good morning, how are you doing? He's saying this is God laws. I'm worried about this my wife that I'm sleeping with. That act and all of that, and who I'm doing it to is not an issue. I'm doing this to God, right? So he kept this stuff spiritual, right? Even though in the midst that he know what's possibly could happen. But he wasn't worried about his master. He was worried more about, what am I doing to God? What am I doing to God if I commit this act, even though she pressuring me and I know her influence? If I don't do this, what could be the repercussion? But he's saying, I'm not going against God, right, guys? So I want to say we might be going through some tough times right now. We're going through some tough times, whatever you're dealing with. Everyone Goliath is different, right? But I want you to understand, when he getting ready to use you to do some things sometimes, he can put you through a test. He's going to put you through the test to see if you keep things spiritual where it belongs and not go secular. Right? Don't focus on your problem. You focus on God for the solutions. Don't focus on the problem. The more you focus on the problem, the enemy goal, he wants you to focus on the problem. Because if you focus on the giant, if David was just looking at the giant, he would have done what all those other soldiers did, scared. He would have been scared just like them. When you focus on the problem, if he had only focused on the size of the giant and not on the spiritual covenants, he know this giant is not covered under, and he can take him down because he's not under the same covenant that I'm under. I can take him down. He's a dead man walking. And when David go up to him, I think to find that here. Let's read when Saul commissioned David, what David said. Saul said to David, go and the Lord will be with you. This is when David go to the king and say, king, give me permission to go and fight this giant. I need, and the king said, man, but you were just a boy. Saul replied, let me go. David said to Saul, let no one lose heart on account of this Philistine. Your servant will go and fight him. Saul replied, You are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from since his youth. Saul saying, man, look, you're just a boy, and this man has been a warrior all his life, bro. Kid, take it easy. But hear what David replied. But David said to Saul, your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by the hair, struck it, and killed it. Your servant has killed both lion and bear, this uncircumcised Philistine will be like one of them, because he has defiled the armies of the living God. The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hands of this dude. David said this is what David keeps focusing on. This is not the only time he mentioned it. He keeps saying this guy is an unsure. He's not under the covenant, because back in the days the circumcision was a sign of the covenant. And David said he's not, man. He's not one of God's chosen ones right now. He's not. I don't looking at his size. I'm looking at he's not under this covenant. And look how bold David can go, because he's not looking at his size. And he don't looking at the spiritual aspect, right? Saul said to David, go, and the Lord will be with you. Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on, I'm reading from 1 Samuel 17. This is 1 Samuel 17. I start reading from about verse 33, but this whole 17 is about the David and Goliath story, right? But it's 1 Samuel 17, I start from 33, right? Then Saul dressed David in his own tunic. He put on a coat of armor on him and a bronze helmet on his head. David fastened on his own sword and the tunic and tried walking around, because he was not used to them. I cannot go in these, he said to Saul, because I'm not used to them. So Saul trying to say, hey, if you're going to fight this giant, you got to be properly protected. I'm going to give you the best protection there is. I'm going to give you my protection. All these armor and all these spears and this, you wearing the king stuff. You're supposed to be more safe, because I'm going to protect you properly going up against this giant. This giant got on all his full armor and all that. You got to go properly protected. David said, that's not me. That's not me. That's you. That's you. This stuff is your stuff. I can't go in your stuff. I'm not comfortable. I gotta go in my own skin. I gotta go to this battle how I am comfortable. Right? You put me in there. I appreciate that. But this is not me, man. I got to do me. I can't do you. I got to do me. So David said, I cannot go in these, he said to Saul, because I'm not used to them. So he took them off. Then he took his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand approached the Philistine. And hear how you can talk to a giant, because he's not looking at his size, guys. Right? Meanwhile, the Philistine with his shield bearer in front of him keep coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome. And he despised him. He said to David, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? It's an insult. I'm a big warrior, tall, big giant where all these armies are running from. You, a little boy, no armor, no protection, nothing, just a little sling in your hand and a stick, your shepherd's staff. What, you think I'm a dog? You're going to whoop me like I'm a dog? This is an insult to me, man. You need to come properly protected and ready to fight. And that's how we feel insulted. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Keep your focus on God. Keep it on the spiritual things and not on the physical things. What Paul said, we should not focus on what is seen, on what is unseen. It's more real than what is seen, right? He said our problem is not against flesh and blood. So when we're going through these tough times, we just need to keep the focus on him, on his promises. He want to make sure, because when he escalates you, when he elevates you, when he promotes you where you need to be, you're going to come up against a lot of challenges. And the only way for you to survive As they said, the higher the levels, the higher the devils. God knows that. The higher the level, the higher he promotes you, is more people going to be coming against you. So he want to make sure, let me test this dude here to see if he's authentic. Let me test him to see if he's authentic. If he's going to keep his eyes on me, keep his eyes on the spiritual things, look at things spiritually and not physically. Because where I'm going to send him, where I want to take him, where I'm going to promote him to, he needs this foundation. He or she needs this foundation, because it's the only way they're going to survive. It's the only way they're going to survive. If you're a leader of 10 people, all you got to do is deal with 10 people, right? But if he promotes you and make you a leader of 1 million people, it's 1 million people criticizing you. It's 1 million people coming against you. Out of that, 5,000 plotting to bring you down. And he said, if you are not grounded spiritually, I set you up for failure if I promote you without making sure I test you for authenticity. Right? So David being tested here before he go on to be king, because this foundation he's going to need to be a proper king when he's over all of Israel now. He need this foundation. He need to make sure he's looking at stuff spiritually and not the big problem, the big giant. Right? So let's go on. Meanwhile, Philistine, am I a dog that you come at me with sticks? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. Come here, he said, and I give you your flesh. Come, and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals. David said to the Philistine, you come against me with sword and spear and javelin. You coming against me with a sword and a spear and a javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. He said, you coming to me with all your armor, your spear, and your javelin, but I just coming to you in the name of the Lord, man. I coming to you against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. That's my weapon. You remember when they talk about the armor, the full armor of God? Your weapon is the word. And David said, that's why I'm coming against you with. In the name of the Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. You make a big mistake, bro. You defile the armies of God. I got to deal with you now. Right? This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands. And I will see, he keeping the focus on. This boy never said, I'm going to beat you. First he said, I come to you in the name of the Lord. Then he said, this day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I will strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcass of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals. And the whole world will know that there is a God. You see this guy keeping his focus? The whole world will know there's a God in Israel. Because only God could put me, a little boy, in front of you with no armor, no protection, and bring you down. So he never taken this credit, guys. And that's why in the midst of your trouble right now, in the midst when you got good things and you got a lot of things, don't take the credit and get carried away and say, because of my strength, and because of my education, because of my size, because of my knowledge, because it's me, I got all these things. Give him the credit, because all that could be taken away in a second. So he said, you're going through the tough times, give me the credit. Still keep your eyes focused on me. When you're going through your times when I promote you and I elevate you, and you got a lot, still keep your focus on me. Because through me, you can do nothing. When Jesus said, I'm the vine and you're the branches, and through me, you can do nothing. Nothing. It's like you break off a branch from a tree, right? If it's not connected to the root and still getting feed the nourishments, you break it off and leave it. It get brown and it get dry and it wither up because no more life in it. Once you cut off yourself from the source and you start talking about me, you're not connected to the source. You're going to be just like the dry branch, just dry up and die. Right? So see, David keep it here, right? As the Philistine moved closer to attack him, David ran quickly towards the battle line. To meet David, didn't run away from him. David ran to him. As he come in, David approaching him, I'm not scared of you. You're uncircumcised. You're a dead man walking. Reaching into his bag and taking out a stone, he sling it and struck the Philistine on his forehead. The stone sank into his forehead and he fell face down on the ground, guys. I ain't gonna read that. Most people know this story. You can go and read it, 1 Samuel 17. So I'm saying, in the midst of your struggle, in the midst of your Goliath, whichever form that come in, keep your eyes focused still on him. He's want to test you, because when he promotes you, you can got a lot more Goliaths to deal with, bigger ones than the one that you're dealing with right now. But if you keep your focus, that's why he's saying, do not be afraid, for I'm with you. He really wants you to understand that and practice it. Do not be afraid, for I'm with you, even what you're going through right now. Do not be dismayed, for I'm your God. I will strengthen you, and I will help you, and I'll hold you up in the righteous right hand. He wants you to actually practice that and not just say it and repeat it as a good scripture. No, he wants you to start practicing these things. Keep your eye on him, even in the midst of your trouble. Don't go secular. Don't look at the problem, how big it is. You keep your eye on him, knowing he's the Almighty. He's in control of everything. So you're going through something right now, guys. Keep your focus on him. Don't lose it. You see, these guys went into death's door. David went in, Daniel was in the lion's den. He closed them out. The next one was in Amrak Shamar was in the fire. How more dangerous than and the king had turned up the heat 7 times more. How more different is your situation? And those guys come out of it. Guys, I'm just telling you this by just saying, I practice in it right now as I speak to you. I practice in it right now as I'm talking to you. Right? So this message is just a reminder for me too, as it is for you. But I learned this time ago, so when I am in my storms, I just keep my eyes focused on him. I'm learning that. All right? So y'all have a great weekend. We'll talk again on Monday, guys. Goodbye.